Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Asim, and hope you all have been enjoying the past few live streams and videos. Let me once just know that am I visible or not, or is this audio visible or not? Am I audible as well? Just maybe add something in the chat, and I would get to know that. Okay, so yeah, thank you for commenting, Mahesh, Asif, Yash. So yeah, so today is a very special talk, and I've been planning to make it for a long while. So I've talked with Avinash some time back as well. So as you have already seen in the title, and I've been promoting it on Twitter and LinkedIn as well. So we have today as a guest Avinash Jain, who is a security engineer at Microsoft right now. He was my manager and mentor as well while I was at Grofers. That was my first job, and I've learned a lot of things from him. Hope you would get to learn like the same things today and a lot more. So there have been a question of form that was floating earlier. So I've like categorized questions onto that, and I've like refactored those a bit so that the questions could be concise and to the point. So I've not left out any of the questions. Almost every question has been figured out, and Avinash would be like talking about that. So we have a lot of time with him. And so if you have any questions or if you miss those in the form, so you can still ping it up and you can still add it in the chat as well. Hope you have a great learning session with him. He has a lot of experience. So he has a lot of experience as a security engineer, while he was fresher, struggling times, and then how he went on to become the manager and then managing a security team, and then from startups to a large scale company as Microsoft. So he has a lot of those experience, and hopefully everyone would learn a lot from those experiences. I've learned immensely, and even day to day or even in a week, I usually consult him for some things or the other. So he has been very helpful to me. He's a very nice, very gentle person. So yeah, you would get to learn a lot. Let me just add him to the stream, and then we could hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Hello, Avinash. Hi.
Yes, good to see you
What's up?
again.
Yep.
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm great, really great. Everyone is quite excited to have you on this stream, and yeah, I was meaning to have you here for a long time. It's
Yeah,
just the
and
times have
no,
been interesting. Yep.
it both ways. Like I've been also seeing your YouTube journey from zero subscriber to now more than 3,000 or 5,000 subscribers. So it's my honor to be here and to share my experience with the folks here.
So one more thing, even when I started, I had talked to Avinash. Ki, Avinash, I'm planning to do this, and he motivated me a lot. Ki, yeah, you should do this. You have some knowledge. You can like start on this, and this has helped me a lot. Really, like he's always been motivating me with different things and all. So yeah, let's start with this, Avinash. So first, I'll be talking about I'll be asking like about your journey from like starting wherever you started from your college, and then how you started and became the manager, and then like the work that you did in guiding a team, creating a team from scratch, and then your work at Microsoft and how you have like progressed through that. There are a lot of questions that would be addressed through those, but I would want to listen you from this. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for the guys who doesn't know, I'm on Twitter with handle as logic_1. So you may find me sharing lots of security stuff. Just a bit of promotion of my handle
Let me
on the.
add those. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's been 6 years for me, more than 6 years in the infosec community, in the infosec corporate journey. I started my career as an developer in one of the Indian company, which was Meekmatrip. It is an online travel company. You might have heard of it or not. So I started my career as a developer. I worked for a developer for I think for 6 months or so, and then I got my profile switched to security because my resume and my interest was totally based out of cybersecurity, networking, doing ethical hacking, bug bounties. So I was very fortunate that my manager at that time reached out to me and asked me about my interest, and then she thought that it would be good if I can join the security team at Big Madrid. So this is how I went. I joined the MT security team, and then my infosec journey really started. I've been also fortunate that I got some of the good mentors. Shubham Mittal, many people might know him. He's the co-founder of Data Labs. So he's the one who initially guided me and helped me picking up things, told me about OApps and all those basic stuff. So yeah, again, wanted to give him a shout out also. So I picked my journey from Mathematic. I worked there as an application pen tester. Then I started working on some other parameters like network security uh, or data decay prevention. And then I think I spent around 2 years at Mathematic, more than 2 years, 2.5 years. Learned a lot. The team, the managers, the people are very supportive. In terms not just in technical area but overall they helped me grow professionally and personally, and I think I got a very huge amount of experience. I didn't keep myself limited to one domain. Like I never wanted to just work as an application tester. Because at that time I was still young. I wanted to explore different domain of cybersecurity, and I think once when you have once you have that experience of working in different domain, you then you get to know what are the things which are which are important for you and which are yeah. Asim, can you hear me? I think I lost you.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Avinash, there might be some internet issues in intermittent, but yeah, you can continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So the intention was always that I wanted to explore different domains of cybersecurity and then really understand where my interest lies. So I never scoped myself to application pen testing or network pen testing. I started working on different other domains as well, like cloud, DevSecOps, DLP, data leakage prevention, and that's how I found my interest. And that's how I also gained experience in different working in the different cybersecurity domain. After Make My Trip, I made a switch to a big MNC, and obviously MNCs has that culture of work-life balance. So you do not get too much work, and you do not sit idle. So I found only a little bit. And, the, I wanted to utilize my skill set to full capabilities, and I think during that age I wanted to work for a startup, and then I made a switch to one of the India's best startup that I have experienced, which was Grofers. I think Grofers was a turning point. The management, the leaders shown great amount of trust, great amount of belief in me, and that's how I started exploring myself in cybersecurity domain, in management role and leadership role. And when you are asked to do something alone, when you're given that responsibility, I think then you learn a lot. Like when there's a push, so I got that push in Grofers, and again thankful to all the leaders, my manager Vedic, and other folks with whom I work. So they showed immense trust, and I also wanted to give back to it. So I started learning about different cybersecurity domain, getting deep into it, understanding the real insights of all those domains. Though I had experience with working with couple of companies, but being in a startup, it's a totally different culture. You work day and night. You work on things from scratch. So I think that was a great experience working there. Started exploring different domains, whether it is DevSecOps, CI/CD, compliance, legal, audit, all those. So I think those 2 or 3 years was a very crucial point of in my career where I found myself that I can be a good leader, I can be a good manager, or I can be a I can be a better security engineer. And then after I again made a switch. Unfortunately, I've been making lots of switch. So yeah, I made a switch to an Indian fintech cred. Many people might heard of it. Many people have seen those ads. I worked there for I think 1 year or so. Uh, and that was a good experience. We had a team of more than 15 or 14 odd people, and then when you have so many people working in your team, you obviously learn from them. So it's been a very quite humble experience there. And then finally, I joined Microsoft. So this has been always not a dream, but always a target that I wanted to explore how those FANG companies work with Microsoft, this big giant works. And how they scale. I think the biggest problem that I've been trying to solve, how to scale in security. You have suppose you have thousands of servers, and you can work on them on tuning the servers. But what if the thousands of servers become lakhs of servers? And that's those problems you solve it when you are working in a large infrastructure, and those large infrastructure are with those MNCs. So I wanted to explore those things. I wanted to get to know those answers, how to solve security issues, how to solve security infrastructure and application security, whatever, in a highly scaled manner. And so I think I started preparing for Microsoft, and finally I get through it. So overall experience, it was really good. I think the past 6 years so been a really nice, exciting journey. I think there's always been something new coming up my way, and I always try to find something new to keep myself motivated, to keep myself learning and going through all the hurdles that are ahead. So yeah, that's a bit about my corporate journey. I started my career as a computer science engineer, computer science BTech graduate, and I think those 4 years helped me understand basics of computers, basic of internet, basic of network security, and all those key aspects. So I think those that base was already was getting set up when I was in my college time. I was getting that intuition that yeah, for me the domain is cybersecurity where my interest lies. Now it's just that I need to work upon it. I need to find out which domain I need to pick, and then it's all about the rest of my corporate journey.
That was really insightful. Yeah. Regarding the same thing, I had a few questions. Like what you said that you completed your BTech with college, and then you didn't do any MTech degree, right? That's
No.
right? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the questions that. So like one of the first question was that a person he's in tier 3 college and he is in second year right now, and he's a bit confused that most FANG companies hire experienced people from MTech background. So that was his question: do people the FANG companies uh, do that?
Uh,
So
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
you continue.
So not exactly true. I think different roles has different qualification. Asking for different qualification. So it is not hardcore that if you are the MTech students or MCA students are only eligible to sit on those FANG companies in FANG companies interviews. It's mostly they stick to particular domain area. They need people who are a domain expert, because they have such a huge infrastructure. They have such a huge security team where everyone is specific to one particular domain. Obviously, if you want to get a whole new experience of working in every domain, the startup will work for you. But if you want to, being expert in some particular domain, if you want to be SME, subject matter expert in some domains, these MNCs usually search for them. That you are domain expert, you have domain expertise in some particular areas. So getting not having MTech degree or MC degree is never been. I never found that any issue. That these bigger companies do not have. They search for logical mindset. They search where your interest lies. You should have that specific knowledge in particular domain. So yeah, I think I don't think so. There's any issue with MNCs that they search for BTech students or MTech students. Obviously, a degree is an asset for you. A computer background, having a computer background is always add on to your profile. But yeah, it is not a hardcore requirement until unless any companies clearly specify they need a BTech guy, or they need a guy who has done PhD in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, yes. Coming to the second question, this it's a very similar one. How can one BTech student get the opportunity to get into these MNCs just after BTech as a security engineer?
I think there's no magic as such. Joining a MNC or joining a startup, there's no difference in terms of preparation. It's just you need to find a suitable profile for yourself. What role suits you most? As I said in the first question, this MNC search for domain expert. You have to be an expert in particular domain. So if you want to go in web app pen testing or web application security, you have to be have that skill set and expertise in that domain. If you want to go in suppose network pen testing, mobile pen testing, you have to have that expertise in those particular domain. So preparation
Mm.
wise, this is almost same whether you are going for FANG, whether you are going for those bigger companies like Microsoft, Google, or you are joining a startup of MNCs. The preparation is almost same. It's just that you for bigger companies, for MNCs, you need to be more domain specific. They usually ask questions which are more aligned to their particular role. They do not take you here and there. They just be very specific to the role that you have applied, the JD that you have been shared with. So everything is in JD. JD is the key for them. The role that you are going for is the key for you to get the interview correct. So yeah, that would be my answer. And if you are done with your BTech, if you are done with your graduate degree, as a fresher, it's up to you to find that expertise area where your interest is. Go search the role which is meant for you, and then apply for it. So that's the key. And no magic, no major difference between getting into FAN. It's just that you have to be a domain expertise if you're going for big MNC.
Yeah, like even I remember like these most of these MNCs, they have this, that the roles that they open up, those are not usually fresher roles. Like usually they the role itself mentions that either 3 year experience or 5 year experience, something like that. So in most of the cases, I think that's a like that could be a like medium requirement, not a very strict requirement that it's a 5 year. Like they would lax it to maybe 3 years or so. But as a fresher going getting the same experience as a 3 year person guy, that might be difficult for people, and that's why I think that they put that criteria, that minimum 3 years experience or something like that. Yep. I also
Yeah.
believe that. Coming to that, is BTech or BE degree required for a job in infosec? Is it a necessary? I mean, that's
Uh,
obviously good, but like people who are in BSc or who are doing BCA, MCA, would they be able to get a job into infosec?
See, so having a computer background is necessary. If you have a computer background, it could be BCA, MCA, BTech, MTech. It is good. It is a good asset. It is a good sign in your resume to get it filtered, to get it shortlisted. Not necessarily it is important, but many companies want that people, the employees that they are searching for, they have a good computer background, and obviously you need something as a proof that you have a computer background. It could be you have done masters in computers, or you have done bachelors in computers, you have done BTech from computer science. So from from those only you will the company will know that you have a computer background, because now you are going for a computer role, you are going
Exactly.
for the security engineering and for security testing. So you have to be you have to have that computer background. It can come from anywhere. It not specific to MTech, BTech, but you should have computer background. uh, Again, as I said, it helps the resume to get shortlisted. It is
Mhm.
again not a necessarily requirement. Again, up to what resume you have built. If you have your resume filled with computer stuff, projects, hacking, security, bug bounties, blocks, doing open source things, then it will certainly help you in getting your resume filtered. But having those computer background is always a plus thing to get your resumes filtered easily.
Yep. Yep. Even I have been saying the same thing. Like
Yeah.
that degree is kind of a proof that you know computer things.
Yes.
That's all. It's not doesn't like justify your merit or something. It just defines that you know computer science, and it's easier for companies to filter out people who are already in computer background compared to who are not there. So if you're planning or you're going to a college, you're planning to go into college, and if you plan your career into cybersecurity, I would definitely suggest to take a degree which is related to at least computer science, not totally a different one. But obviously, if you have done your degree and now you're planning to switch careers, so maybe that you would have to work a little harder to prove yourself that you have that particular thing. Thank you. That was really good. Let me add one more question. This might be a little difficult as such. So, this has come a lot of times, like certifications and versus bug bounty CTF experiences. So, this person has asked, ki, knowledge about the security is most suitable to land a job in FANG as a fresher. So, if not, how as a beginner, how to prepare for interviews and show yourself as a worthy candidate to these companies. So, are certifications very important, or bug bounties and CTF experience would count for internships or like security jobs in FANG as a fresher, even not in only FANG, but in other companies as well? Because I remember while I was applying to Grofers, I didn't have any of these certifications. Even the role, I think that was of 2 years experience or something. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just pinged Avinash, hey, I want to join this, and then he gave me that if you hack Grofus only, then we would start your interview, and that's how it started. So yeah, Avinash, please talk about it, certifications and these things.
Yes, I think certification is not a hard requirement. Even I do not have much certification. I haven't done I haven't done OCP, and still I'm in Microsoft. So certification is not any hard requirement. Certification is just a proof that you are an expert in this particular domain. It is good to have, but it is not must to have. Obviously, it act as a proof that you have done OSCP, or you have done CEH, you have done OSCE, or uh, you have some cloud security expertise certification. So it tells you that you have that knowledge. But certificate is not everything. If you do not have if you have certification and still you are not able to prove it, then again your uh, interview go for a toss. But if you do not have that certification and still you have that knowledge, you still can get through all those interviews. So I think any experience which can showcase your learning or your knowledge, it could be through certification, it could be through any other media which can show that you have that expertise, or you have that learning, you have done those learnings in your particular domain. It could be writing blogs, it could be doing research, doing giving conferences, giving talks, uh, making your open source tool. So it is all about how do you justify that you have that knowledge in this particular domain. Certification again, good to have, not must to have. Live example is me. I do not have any very strong certification, but still I'm fortunate that I get to good companies. Bug bounties certainly help to learn skills. Writing, in your resume is that when you have found bugs, and you have been rewarded, recognized by these companies. But again, finding accesses in 10 domains and then writing on resumes doesn't justify your learning. You have to find out the learnings from your bug bounty experience, or from any side gigs, and you have to showcase that if you have found any bug, how it is different from other bug, how you are different from dozen of security researchers that are finding the same thing. So you have to think out of the box. You have to be more logical. If you're doing bug bounties, you have to be more logical in terms of your finding bugs and vulnerabilities. A common bugs can get you reward, but it certainly cannot get you cannot get you a good company. You have to justify your learnings. You have to justify that you have some expertise in you have been learning a lot for bug bounty experience or whatever. So I think that would be my answer. Again,
Mhm.
I will end it that certificate is not must to have. It is good to have. Justify your learning, but again, there's something which you can showcase in your resume to tell people that you have a certain learning skill set in your particular domain.
Yep, that's what I have also been saying on the channel. Certifications are not a must. If you have it, that's obviously good to have on your resume, but that's not a prerequisite key. If you don't have, you won't get a job as such. Like a lot of people that I know, Avinash is also here, and a lot of people that work with me, they don't have any certifications. Like they are not into certifications and all, but they definitely have good, what do you say, presentation and writing skills. They have good blogs, they have good things found, they have done a lot of work in this, they have written tools, they have made tools public for open source like GitHub tools, people are using those. So those are things that matter a lot compared to your only bug bounty reports, sorry, your certifications and such. And what Avinash said, that's right, that finding accesses on 10 different domains justify that, okay, you are a good person who is good for finding accesses, but a company won't hire you just for your XSS skills, right? So you would have some other skills as well on your resume. So even if you don't have a computer science degree, if you prove these things by having these kinds of skill set, like I remember last year there was this guy, Espin or something, I don't know the pronunciation, but he found a Google VRP bug, and it was the second most like paid out bug, and he dropped out of college, and because Facebook hired him as a security engineer. He was in third year of his college, and Facebook hired him because he used to find continuously on Google's vulnerability reward project, and that too on Google Cloud, which is a very secure thing as itself. So continuously finding bugs on that and reporting that, that's a very big achievement. Not everyone can do that. So that showed his persistence and skill set. So that's why Facebook hired him, even if he didn't have a college degree. He had to complete one more year, but Facebook offered him a job. So like there are examples that you can easily see. So yeah, that's that. Uh, I think that was all about FANG jobs and such. There's one question I'm meaning to ask, but I think first I will talk about a few people who have been meaning to switch careers to cybersecurity. Usually, like you talked that you had your developer experience for 6 months and then you switch careers to cybersecurity. So there's this question. Let me just post it here. That would be prudent so that everyone can see even later on as well. So the question is, I'm currently in fourth year, got job in product-based company, but further want to switch to cybersecurity-based job. Any path you recommend for slowly moving towards cybersecurity, mainly web, yeah, mobile app pen testing? It seems very similar to your journey, like where you started and you got placed into a like software developer role and then you switched into that. So maybe you might want to talk about this, like how he should or she should like start his career into that or plan his career into this thing.
Yeah, I think getting to a cybersecurity job again, it is not people think it is very difficult because there are less opportunities, but there is also less competition. There are less people, so there are less companies and there are less roles. So professionally, there's equal opportunity. If you think, if you are a developer and if you are going for a developer role or apply for a developer role, the ratio is almost same because there are less role, less people in the cybersecurity domain. Similarly, there is equal amount of opportunity and role in developer file. So switching to a cybersecurity job from product based company is not that challenging uh, as people think. Yes, there are less jobs, but again, there is also a less competition. How, like talking about myself, how I got from an developer background to our cybersecurity background is that uh, what I thought and what I've experienced and learned is that uh, a good hacker is one who know how to code. You can be a hacker, but it differentiate you from different hackers if you are able to understand the code, if you are able to write those code and have that developer perspective. So if you have any background in developers has a developer experience, I think that would work as an add-on to your cybersecurity career. Because now you can think of as how developer is building an application, and then it is how you can break it. So if you can think how you have made it, you can think how to break it. So for me, it was, I think I've been on that advantage. I worked as a developer, so I always think how a developer could have built that application, how developer had designed and coded that application. Then I can go and break those application manually with manual bugs or logical bypass. Uh, so yeah, if you are into a product based company, then it is a very good asset for you. If you are working as a developer, then it is a very good start for you. I think you can slowly move to cybersecurity background. Pick one domain, find where your domain interest lies, do your own research. It could be, it could be writing blogs, it could be doing bug bounties, it could be CTFs, learning, or maybe some real world things in your own corporate office. So I think that's how you can move to cybersecurity. And I'm also reading the question again. Any path you recommend for slowly moving to cybersecurity, mainly web and app? So I think, yeah, like it's very generic. If you're moving to any domain, whether it is app, web, mobile, or maybe apart from non-security background, you have to get something in your bag to show your experience, to show your learning. It could be from anything. Do your own research, pick one domain, understand those things from the basic. I think the basics are very important. I still sometimes revise over top 10. I still sometimes understand what is access. I still sometimes understand how to patch SQL injection. So I think those basics should never go. You have to keep on revising those basics. And again, it doesn't mean if you are revising the basics again and again, it doesn't mean that you do not know them. It's just that you want to get your basics strong again and again, and that's how it keeps you apart from other people. So I think getting those basics clear, whether you are in cybersecurity domain, whether you are developer domain, you have to get those basics clear, finding out and everywhere there's a reason why. If you're finding anything, just question it from why perspective, for your, not for others, but for yourself. If you found an accessible bug, or if you're seeing that recently OFs released a list of top 10 vulnerabilities, you will find SSR there. So question why SSR is there. So, always question the things with why. Then you will understand the basic reason and the mindset behind those things. It could be vulnerability, it could be anything related to your domain. So get your basics clear. There are various sources over internet. I think security community is very fortunate that we have so many open source people, open source tools, projects. People are contributing to those projects and all those tools. So we have so many open source things. You just need to find a particular set of tools and process and learning resource for you, and then just go about it. Do not think much. Just get to one domain, uh, study it thoroughly, find out some experience out of it, maybe do CTFs, maybe do bug bounties, write blogs, do your own research, break it, or whatever that you want to do. And then I think you'll be worth moving to a cybersecurity domain.
Yep. Yep, that's totally right. I mean, if you are if you have some experience as a developer, and that gives you an advantage over like most of the people, because most of the people, they don't have this developer skill set. Even I remember while we were at Grofers, we used to attend other people's showcase when they were doing feature demos and product demos. So we used to attend that so that we could get to know what features they are releasing, because that helps us get an insight that how they have built that and how we can break that as a security engineer, as a pen tester, how we can break that. Because while you are as a developer role, you can definitely be coding that, but once you are into a security engineer, you are not directly interacting with the code, rather with the features. So unless and until you know how the developer has created that feature, it would be hard for you to break that, like what Avinash said. So that's a good place to start with, to have some developer experience, and then maybe switch on to cybersecurity tools after you know where the weaknesses lie. Yep, that's totally good. There's another one on this thing. This person is in a switching in a services based company. Let me just add it here. So, how to shift from working service based companies to product based companies in cybersecurity? What changes to expect? What should one do to transition? Any advice in general will be helpful as well. And another thing, guys, the questions that I've been adding in chat, I will be taking later on after the questions that were there in the form, so that they give them people who have already filled the form, they get the priority there. Yep, Avinash, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, coming to question, I think shifting from a service-based company to a product-based company, the major shift is from the perspective of customers, the customers that you are serving. If you are working in a service-based company, you know what tools, what you're building for your customers, what customer wants from you. And if you're working in a product-based company, it could be any e-commerce, then the customer base is totally different. You are working for your real customers, for the real for the people. Um, so I think look, understanding the customer base of those companies. If you're joining any product-based company, it could be any educate platform, it could be learning platform, e-commerce, traveling portal, or grocery platform. You have to understand what customer who are your customers. You need to understand, you need to empathize what they need from you, and how you can make them secure, how to keep a balance between security and their productivity. So I think you need to understand their customer base first. Business is totally different. If you're switching from a service based company to a product based company, there's a total vast difference. I switched from my previous company, which were e-commerce. Now I'm into Microsoft. So the customer base is totally different. Totally different. There's a huge these all altogether different kind of requirements that we are now serving for. You need to understand what requirement you are serving for, and then you need to think how you can serve those requirements to your customers, understanding their needs securely. So I think you need to first understand which company you are going for, whether it is a product based company, and what their customers are, who their customers are, what business they are running. So once you understand those business, the customer, then you can more think from a perspective how you can apply for that particular job, or how you can work for them. uh, and I think uh, yeah, I think that would be the answer. Aligning yourself to those companies business in line, and aligning yourself with what customer and those companies in the product based company or in the service based company want from you. I think that's how you can plan for a switch. uh, uh, like I did a switch from an fintech company to Microsoft. So there's whole bunch of shit for me. The customer base that we are serving is totally different, and also the numbers are very huge. So yeah, you need to understand what customer actually required from want from you. You need to understand what business your company is running, and then when you understand both of this, you work for it. Now you need to develop your security skill according to what those companies want from you, what those customer, you will be working with, you will be essentially working for your customers, you will be essentially working for your business. So once you understand them deeply, then you can figure out how you can how to align yourself in those lines, and then start improving or finding those particular skill set to those areas.
So, like suppose if someone is working for a service-based company, right? So they have this, like, what do you say? They have this client requirements like hard coded into the document or something, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there's a structure that these particular things need to be checked. Whereas in a product-based company, like let's say Grofers or Cred or wherever you were, so there was no, like, there was no these things only. Anything that's related to security, you have to do that. That's right. Is that right?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
you cannot get your customer data into danger, or you cannot get your customer data to leak at any cost. That is something. So if there is a new bug or there's something new coming up, you have to take that into account. Like recently, there's this Atlassian bug that was floating around, and then this Ghost script bug that was floating around. So you have to be constantly updating yourself. Compared to in a like services-based company, you can just like complete the document and complete the pen testing report, and then you can submit and you can be done with that. Whereas on product-based company, you are always on your toes. You have to work round the clock to get yourself updated. I think so. That's a major difference and major shift in culture when you switch from a service-based company to a product-based company.
Yep.
I just wanted to pick this one before anything else. So there was this question from this guy. Question for both of you. Any advice for someone who wants to join Cred or Grofers as a security engineer?
I think so, like the question should be is not just, I will not be answering it specific to Grofers or Credit. I will be answering it specific to startups. Both are startups, and when you apply for startups, startup expect you to be have kind of all rounder skill set. Obviously, they cannot spend as much as bigger MNCs spend on their employees. They cannot hire 50, 100 people or people in their team. Then they want lesser people who can do most of the tasks for them. So they search for those individual who have that all round skill set. Uh, Whether you are joining Growth or Scratch, obviously they are the startups. If you want to join any startup, make sure that you have always that learning capability. They search for people who have high zeal of learning, who can who can be an who can be an all-round asset for them. If you have been asked to do network pen testing, you can do it. They expect you to do it. If they put you in doing some automation tasks, they expect you to do it. So I think working for startups, they search for an all-rounder skill set, and also zeal of learning. You have to be always have that thirst of learning working in those startups, because uh, startups work around the clock. There's always not a high pressure, but there's always a good amount of work that you will be handling. There's always a fast pace of work, fast pace of development and testing going around the clock. So you have to understand the gravity of what a company is working in. And if you have that learning mindset, if you want to work really fast, want to learn really fast, I think this startup are always best. Specific to Grofers or Cadet, I think both of them, again, as I said, they need people who have that expertise, who have that all-round mindset. Whether you are in web application or network pen testing, you should know each and everything. You never know that if you are thrown to a different kind of work in the cybersecurity domain. So you have to know the in and out of each domain, and to have expertise in one particular domain. But you have to know, you should know the other parts of as well, whether it is automation, writing code, fixing bugs, sitting with developers and telling them how to mitigate this particular vulnerability, breaking stuff, defending. So I think those all-round skill set certainly helps you in get succeed in these startups. Getting job in startup and getting success in those startups are two different things. So you want to really succeed in those startups, you need to have that zero of learning and that all-round skill set and mindset to join these companies.
Yeah, like Avinash already said, like in bigger companies, you need to be SMEs, like subject matter experts more. Whereas in startup, because there's always a crunch of people, so you need to be more versatile in your skill set. You need to have a lot of more skill set than compared to a person who is in maybe Microsoft or in a big companies, because there the depth of knowledge is more. Here, the breadth of knowledge is more. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
That was nice. So. again, maybe a trick question or something. Let me just put it here. So, bug bounty versus CTF. So earlier we had this certifications versus bug bounties or CTFs. Now we have bug bounties versus CTFs. Which one should we focus to get a cybersecurity job?
I think any of them will work. It is not necessary you should be a bounty hunter or you should play CTFs. Anything will work which can showcase your learning out of them. As I said, that finding accesses in 10 different domains won't get you any new learning. But finding some manual bypasses, finding out of box accesses, or any kind of bug will certainly give you some learning. All these bug bounty CTFs are meant to teach you something. So if you're learning the same thing again and again, finding the same bug, it won't give you a kind of vertical learning. So you have to utilize this platform to learn and to grow your learning domain, and that's how you can show that in your resume. Uh, you know writing in resume that you found bug in 10 different website, it would be worthless if you do not able to show the learning that you got out of it. And this is what I've been doing. I've been a bug bounty hunter, and always aim for me was to find different type of bugs which can at least give me some learning. Obviously there have been cases where you are finding same thing in different platforms, but then you have to find that tunnel to learn something new. You cannot restrict yourself doing the same thing, whether it is in bug bounties or CTF. They are meant to learn yourself. I think those side gigs, these are the side gigs. Like bug bounties, some of the side gigs that people do. If you are going for if you are a bug bounty hunter, always make sure you at least learn from it something. Do not repeat it again and again. Whether they're CTFs are also meant to learn. And getting into cybersecurity jobs, mentioning that you have cracked this box, or you have found vulnerabilities in Microsoft Google, doesn't give you an add-on until unless you are not able to prove those concepts in your interviews. You are not able to find something which are something out of the box, or you have cracked something which is something very unique or very 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 special. So I think, yeah, and any of them will work, but make sure you get a new learning every time you are going for cracking a box or finding a flag or doing bug bounties. So always keep that in mind. Have that learning mindset after like out of everything that you're doing. I think, yeah, that's something which requires which you should focus to get a cybersecurity job.
Yep. Avinash, this is your blog, right? Logicbomb.medium.com, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I was
it's
checking this and this is your, but there's no underscore one, so I was a bit confused. Is it
I
yours or
didn't
someone else?
I didn't get that user handle.
So that's the story of his underscore one, why he chose underscore one on Twitter and not anywhere else, because
This
someone already took that.
already claimed that. I messaged him, but he never replied. So I satisfied with
So
Logic
now
Bombs.
that's an Easter egg for you, like, why there's an underscore one in there. This is another an important question. I've seen a lot of people doing the same thing, that I can read code but not an expert. So how to be a good application security engineer without having good code knowledge? And specific to things like, maybe I'm good at Python. I know I work Python. I've done Golang. But if you give me a Java application, I as a security engineer won't say no. I won't be looking into this because I don't know Java, right? So, like, my personal take would be ki this language is like computer language are somewhat similar, but like I would like to know your thoughts on it, because we have done a lot of work in a lot of applications. Yep. Yeah, Vinash.
I think understanding the code, how code works, is always keeps you always like, make you a different application security engineer. The question is how to be a good. If you cannot read code, you cannot be a good application security engineer. I think if the terms comes with application, I think application are written in they have the front end and they have back end. If you are really able to understand what the tech stack is, what are the framework being used, what is the language being programmed upon, and you are able to figure out what those key libraries which are vulnerable in those backend code that has been written. If you are able to really understand the logical things in the code, then only you can break it. If you're working for a company, and where you are working as an white hat hacker or application security engineer, you go through code. You are doing a white box pen testing, and you need to understand how the code function. It is not something that you are just hit and trial everything. Obviously, hit and trial something works out, but cannot work out every time. To to be a good application security engineer, understanding code is something good. You don't need to understand every programming language, but at least you should. I think every programming language is almost same. There's no vast difference.
Mm.
The logic behind the code is always same. There's a bit of syntax different, but largely they are same. Whether it is Python, whether it is Go, whether it is C, whether it's Java, the logic behind it and the statement, the syntax is almost same. So you should know. I think I would say one should know how to read code. One should understand how the code is written, able to understand what all logic being put by the developer in that code. I think then a person can be a good application security engineer rather than a simple or a basic website guy.
Even I agree with that. Like, once you have grasp of one language, you can easily understand code in any other language. It's not very drastically different, because that's the whole purpose of creating high-level languages, so that people can code comfortably in any of those instead of doing in an assembly language. So yeah, that's really good. Now I have some questions related to job hunting for specifically to freshers. Like, suppose you are the interviewer and you have to take a fresher as a security engineer. So what would be your mindset? What would be you thinking as? What would be your expectation from a fresher who has applied to a company for the security engineer role?
Yeah. I think I think Asim would be the best person to answer, but I would tell how I hired him and what I think when I hired any fresher. Uh, See, when you're hiring for a fresher, you always expect him, because freshers are full of energy. They are at pretty young age, and you want those people to be really enthusiastic in their work. You want those people to have that crave for learning. Always has that learning mindset. They always want to know and always curious to know and always curious to put up a question of why this, why not that, why not that. Instead of just listening that I'm telling him or her to do that, they should question back why we are doing this, or and just be curious to know how particular thing can be done and why we are doing so. So in terms of skill set, I usually see how what is the zeal of learning, and also what again technically you need to find people who are technically strong, because you know that hiring a fresher, you need to groom them, you need to teach them, but having those freshers who have those zeal of learning, who know who can learn, if they are given anything, they have that fast learning capability. I think those freshers are always add on to companies. uh, I always search for those people who have those basics clear. I don't go into depth of things. I just find people who have those basics, really simple basics clear. If I'm asking what is CSRF, they can tell me in one line what is CSRF rather than going here and there. I think I just check for the basics. I never go into deep, because I know if you train someone, or obviously teaching a lion to sit on chair, they are easily trained. So training is something which I'm not concerned about when I'm hiring fresher. I know that if I give something to a fresher, they will learn and then come back to me. But what is the pace of learning? What is the curiosity in him or in her to learn that particular stuff? Is something which I always look for. As I said, technically I go for basic technical stuff. Never ask a deep security questions or deep technical questions. I always find out whether the basics of person is clear or not. Whether it could be in cybersecurity domain, or it could be apart from cybersecurity domain, because those basics and have that logical mindset. It cannot be just proved from the role that you're hiring for, but you can even I even ask question which is totally different from cybersecurity, but they prove that you have that logical mind. You can think from the deep of your mind and go into the deep of the problem. I usually put them in some real world scenarios to find out what is their approach, rather than just bluntly come and saying that I will do that. I want them to really think, uh, no matter if they are thinking wrong, but thinking capability is something which I always look forward in freshers. And I think that's how I hired Asim. In terms of Asim also, I checked that how this person can think, and how those basics are cleared in him, or whether it could be anyone. I have been hiring the freshers. I think for the last 3.5 years, I've been doing a lot of hiring. So among freshers, I usually search their learning curiosity, how much curious they are learn to things, um, whether their basics are clear, and what is the out of the box thinking. If they can put that effort, just leaving that I won't be able to do that, or I won't be able to learn that. I want people to at least show their enthusiasm to learn something. And I think that are the skill set which are required to hire a fresher, because you cannot expect a fresher to perform, coming and start performing. You cannot expect a fresher to perform as compared to an experienced guy. They are new. For them, a corporate life is totally new. Shifting from college to corporate is just C. The letter C is only same. Otherwise, everything is totally different. Uh, so I think those advantages I always give to fresher. No matter what their degrees are and what their background is, I search for what mindset they are coming with. I give them opportunity to prove themselves that they know certain things which I'm asking. I give them, but I give them ample of time to think and swim, and then I try to know what is the approach, and then just coming up with my answer. Tell me the wrong answer, but tell me your approach. What is the approach behind? So I think, yeah, that's something which I look forward in freshers. Not just I, but many of the people who hire freshers, they generally they see the same thing.
Yep. That's really good because a lot of people have been asking me, ki, hey, how can I bypass this firewall and all? And those are not easy challenges. Bypassing like a production-based company, like let's say a Cloudflare firewall, so they are spending millions of dollars just to protect their firewall. So if you're able to bypass that, that's not a small feat, and that's not something that people would be asking you in interviews. They how can you bypass a firewall? If someone is asking you, maybe they're just testing you out. They don't expect an answer from you. Some people, they might come up with some like false or bogus answer instead of actually accepting that it cannot be bypassed. So that is something they are testing out. I remember like it's something different. I remember 2.5 years back when I was giving the interviews for Growth. So Avinash asked me about that key. If there's a login form and there's a DDoS attack happening on, how would you protect that? And I was giving a very complicated answer. Okay, we can use this and that, and then. But when they replied with the answer, that was very simple, and thought, yeah, even that could be done. Why didn't I think of that? So yeah, that's something, and you should also ask this question: how you can protect the login from a DDoS account? And that's a very simple answer. It's not very complicated product and all. I remember I was taking an interview for an internship here at Gojek some like a few months back, and then we asked the same question to that person, and he had that knowledge, but he didn't actually come up with that answer even after nudging him in a bit that we don't like. He was suggesting some complicated solutions. We can hire Akamai firewall, we can get Cloudflare firewall. So I gave him I gave him a scenario key. Say this is a small startup that you're working for, and they don't have the money to pay for Cloudflare or Akamai firewalls and also. So how would you implement something solution? So he couldn't come up with that. But yeah, I mean that's thinking out of the box. That's something everyone is looking for if you're hiring a fresher, because as a fresher you don't know like bringing these solutions. They might look easy, but they already have a lot of challenges with themselves as well. Like bringing Cloudflare or Akamai to your whole environment. It's not an easy change. You just put it in front of the website and everything works as it is. So it amongst itself also brings a lot of challenges. So we don't expect you to answer all those questions. That's why we expect you some different answer. But yeah, that's really good. Yeah, there's another question. Let me post it here. It's again as a fresher, where to look for cybersecurity jobs, as companies coming for placement only look for the SD role. And like this is something I was also struggling with a lot. And I've answered these in my previous live streams as well, but I think Avinash would be better here. Should one take the software developer job and after having some experience for a couple of years, switch to the cybersecurity role? What's your take on this, Avinash?
Yeah, I think where to look for cybersecurity job, I don't need to answer. They are job portal where you can find those cybersecurity job. There are Twitter handles which which regularly pushes out if there's any job related opening in any companies. Finding out, going through companies careers page is something which I've been doing. When I was searching my jobs, I always been listing down all the companies name where I want to go, and then going through their career website to apply, directly apply. I think those are the things, like going through job portals, their career website, finding out. In Twitter, people generally post about security vacancies. Their Twitter handles, their security communities, we does it very often. I think keep an eye on those Twitter handles, those job portals and career website. You will find job role coming up. But yeah, the question, which is I think which most of the people ask, and also I have experienced that companies during campus placement doesn't look for security engineers as much as they look for SE role. That's true, I think, and that's the reason I went to SE role, because no company came into my campus to my campus for a security engineering role. And during the college time, I also had no idea where to search. I like this job portal. I never knew at that time. Uh, so I think that was one of the thing that I missed. But I want people to know that they are job portals for you. They are like LinkedIn, Naukri.com, Indeed.com. There's so many job portals being now. Then so many startups which are coming up with those job portals. So you can certainly look in those job portals to apply offline. Waiting for a company, waiting for a specific company to come into your college. You cannot be assured whether those companies will come to your college or not. If you are from a three-tier college, obviously you cannot expect any of those good companies coming to your college. You have to look outside. You have to apply offline, and where this job portal comes, and be in touch with security community. You will find a lot of people posting about security opening. I myself, I think Asim is one of those guy who applied to Graphics when I posted over Twitter. So there are lots of people, cybersecurity engineers and leaders who are posting about jobs. Netflix has so many job openings. They have been pushing out every now and then on Twitter. So follow those guys, follow those people. Go through, make your own company's website where you want to pursue, where you want to go, and then go through their websites and their career page where you will find the suitable opening for you. Uh, and then yeah, the second part of the question, after having experience for a couple of years, stick to the company. So yeah, I think I did the same thing. I joined Make as a software developer, and though my interest was in cybersecurity domain, but I am very thankful that I got a chance to work as a developer. I think uh, having that 6 month of experience, six or 8 month of years of experience certainly helped me to be a kind of a good cybersecurity engineer. If I would if I would have haven't done profile in developer profile, I couldn't have learned those skills at how developers think, how they code, what are the libraries, how to write a backend code. I think those 6 or 8 months of odd experience helped me at least nurture one of the qualities of to think from the perspective of developer. So it is always good, if you think that you can make a switch after 2 years and working as a software developer. Go for it. I think 2 years can be huge. You can spend about a 1 year and 1.5 year working as a software developer, understand how they code and understand their mindset, learn the coding skill, and then you can finally make a switch if you have that real interest over cybersecurity. If you have that interest, you can switch anytime. But yeah, if you are from an on-campus placement, if you are thrown into an software developer profile, do not take it as an disinterest. Go about it. Obviously there is something in software developer profile as well for the cyber security people. You will learn something out of it. Spend some good amount of time. As I said, being you can be a good hacker if you have a good developer profile, if you can understand what developer mindset is, and you can only understand if you have really worked for a couple of, for short time period as a developer profile. So it will be a good asset if you getting an opportunity to work as a developer, having your interest in cybersecurity domain. It is a completely win-win situation for you. So yeah, that would be my take here.
Yep, that was good. I mean, yeah, in 2019 January when I was looking for this, so I got a job as a associate software developer at a big MNC, and I just kept that up because that was a like kind of a satisfaction that I have a job if I go out of college. But the last 6 semesters, sorry, the last 6 months, we usually have an option to go for a 6 month internship, or you can stay at college and do some project work. So I told the company that I would be doing a project work, but the whole intention was to find a security job so that I don't have to go as a software developer. And then I made a spreadsheet, a Google sheet. I added every like whatever companies I found. I followed a lot of Twitter handles and LinkedIn, and I was just looking out. Like I remember at that time Zomato also posted an opening, so I just make the column company name. Where did I find that source, the job posting, and what is the status? So in status, I just like added sent mail, sent mail, sent mail, and when it was rejected or something, I mentioned that rejected or something like that. So I had like 10 or 8 or 10 companies there, and when like I got selected one, I just like stopped that sheet there itself. So that because this is not a conventional job. Everyone Like companies don't come to hire for software developers. So if it's not a conventional job, you have to look for unconventional places and
Exactly.
at unconventional roles.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really good. Uh, so also I wanted to ask, like, even though this person asked, is DSA required, like data structures and algorithms required for interviews?
Yeah. Yeah. So like I've been giving I've given interviews to various big MNCs. Like last year I gave interview to Facebook and Amazon, and this year I gave interview to Microsoft. It is certain it is not required DSA, but they always look for this logic. For example, the question that I was asked in my Facebook interview was that they give me a sentence, and they asked me to find duplicate a word in that sentence. So for example, the sentence was my name is Avinash Jain, and there's a word is which is coming multiple times. I need to find out each word and their frequency. Certainly doesn't require they didn't ask me to code. They just asked me how will you solve it. If you needed to find this the duplicate words, how will you find it? So they do not search for core, or I would say any basic DSA algorithm, or data types, or coding skill set. They just look for how you can think. It could be they check it through. They can check it through any question. They can give you a kind of puzzle, or they can give you such kind of real world example. For example, when I was switching when I was getting interviewed for Amazon, they asked me that there's an stair of n. Suppose there's an n steps in the stair, and then there's rain happening, and you took two steps and you come down by one step. How much step will you need to complete those n steps of stairs? So it certainly doesn't require any kind of DSA algorithm. It's just that you need to just think how you can work out how that particular problem can be solved from an optimized point of view. And similarly, those optimization and those logical mindset is required in your cybersecurity skill set as well. When you're thinking of automating something, you always think what is the best library you can use here, what is the best least possible vulnerable code you can use to make your function run. You always make it more modal, or you always make it more readable. So I think those things are still applied in cybersecurity domain. How you logically solve some particular statement, or particular problem statement, and how do you go about it. I think those the DSA is not required, but the logic, how you go about a real world problem is certainly required.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, problem solving skills is a must. I mean, you need to
Exactly.
solve those. Like, they won't be asking you to write a code for Dijkstra algorithm or something like that, but they would expect you to answer some simple logical questions. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yep. Avinash has been into a lot of interviews, so you can definitely get a lot of knowledge from him. Let me just add this new question. For red team and blue team, what exactly do companies look for in a resume to even land us an interview? So it's specific to resume shorting, I think. Like, how do companies sort this out? Yep.
So there's a very I think if I need to tell you the difference between red line and blue line, the difference is in red team you go vertically, you go deep into things, and while blue team you just go horizontally. Or you can think about blue team and red team. One of the differences is vulnerability assessment and pen testing. In red teaming, you really go into the things, you really penetrate into the security loopholes and really exploit it in a real world fashion. While blue team is more from a defender side, you find a bug, and now you need to just get it fixed from your developers. You need to chase them, you need to track them, you need to build fences to make sure that next time this particular bug doesn't occur. But red team is more kind of exploitation area, where you exploit a particular bug, where you do pen testing, find different bugs, get into the real, take a shell, remove shell. So I think red team is more into the exploitation, but while blue team is more on the defense side. You find a bug, now it's your job to make sure that this particular bug doesn't occur from the next time. And how do you make sure? You need to build fences for it. You need to build defense mechanism for it. It could be firewall, it could be coming up with security guidelines for developers, doing code reviews, doing security code reviews. So there's a difference between blue team and red team. What company exactly search? As I said, at red team they search how much uh, you know, the kind of pen testing skill set you have, how deeply you have penetrated into stuff. For example, solving CTA box is something which you can show to showcase your red teaming skill set. While blue team is more about defenses. You can use. it could be in a way that you build some particular tool which can prevent a developer or a company from doing this, or you have built your own custom firewall, or you have built particular tool to where a developer is checked every time they are pushing any code. So blue team is more on defense side. You have to work on defense side. You have to your job is not just limited to finding a bug, but you need to make sure those bugs are fixed. And that particular bug doesn't occur the next time. So I think those are the things which differentiate between two, and these are the things which companies look out for when they are searching for a red team or blue team.
So can we say like if in on my resume because CTFs usually test the depth of knowledge, right? Like they would
Yeah.
pick a particular, like let's say insecure DC relation, and then they would chain a lot of bugs, and you would have to get a flag that would be very deeply
Yeah.
embedded somewhere in the application. So let's say if I am looking for a person who is for a red teaming activity, so considering that he has done a lot of CTFs, so should I consider him more for the resume? Should I shortlist him for a resume on the basis of his resume, or is there's a person who has more of bug bounty things on his thing? Because bug bounty, you just find a bug and you report it. You don't try to, like, you may try to escalate it, but till a certain point, not beyond that, till the point you're not breaching the contract with the company, right? So like if there are two guys, one has a resume which has a lot of bug bounties, and the other has a resume which has mostly CTFs only, like maybe world class CTF, DEFCON CTF or something like that. So which resume would you be picking up if you would be looking for a red teamer job, and if you would be looking for a blue team job?
I think for writing, I would be going through those CTF skill set,
Mm.
because they get into the shell of the systems. When I say shell of the system, that means they penetrate into the things. Uh, and for a blue team, people companies really search whether they can develop something for them. It could be
Yeah.
defense mechanism. It could be writing code for them, which can protect them from outside attacks. Uh, so yeah, this is how company usually filtered out. If you're interviewing for a blue team, or if you're interviewing for you know one of the member in the team who are working for security defenses, you need to have those code defense skill set. You need to know if you have found particular bug. Suppose you have found external injection, and the question will be rightly put to you: how you can make sure that this bug is fixed from the next time? What are the best practices to fix external injection? How will you tell a developer to get it fixed? What are the mitigation guidelines to fix this particular external injection? So you need to think from the mitigation side, from the defense side. And I think most of the
Mm.
interviews, most of the companies generally questions you from that perspective, rather than going into the attacking mode. They will
Uh,
ask you questions from the defend mode.
So, I mean, like if people are like, I'm just suggesting. So, if people are writing blogs about their bug bounty things, shouldn't they also mention the mitigation steps into that, so that if later on someone reads that, they get to know, okay, this is how I could prevent it at my company. Would that be good?
Actually, yeah, I think this recommendation, mitigation always help not just you, but because you are writing a blog on public, there could be people who are from security background who like to know how you break it, but there are also people who are from the defensive background who want to know how you can how this particular vulnerability can be fixed. Suppose if there's any misconfiguration you have found in any of the tools, or you find any logical bypasses, if you're mentioning that this is how it can be fixed, also you will get interest from both the parties, not just limited from red team or a pen tester. You will also get interest, you will also get views and those contacts from developer and from people who are implementing different mechanism.
Yeah, yeah. Because I also see that there's a friend of mine. He's a software developer at a startup, at a
Yeah,
US-based startup in Bangalore, and he asked me about these SQL injection, and I sent him bug reports, bug bounty reports. So he has started reading himself bug bounty reports. He doesn't do bug bounty, but he does reads those so that he can find mitigations and how they can prevent it at their own company. Because right now they don't have any security engineers, so everything is on to him that he has to look at the application security as
yeah,
well. So yeah, I really think those bug bounty reports which have these mitigations, those are like more worthy than compared to those are just the bug bounty amount and all those things.
exactly.
Yeah, that definitely really, I mean, that's really good, I think. Uh, there's a thing, job opportunities for this is, I think this is very subjective to the Indian market, but yeah, job opportunities for web app pen testers in Indian market. Will having just the web app pen testing knowledge help get a job, or should we also learn about networking, Metasploit, Active Directory, etc.? Like you get the idea.
Yeah. I think the job opportunities for web application pentester hitch is large as compared to other domains in India, because you will see most of the startups working for customers. They are building their own applications. They are building their own websites. They have that customer facing interfaces more. So the job opportunities for web application pentesters are certainly more in the market. The next part will having just a web application pen testing knowledge help you get a job, or should we learn some other things? I think if you are applying for so it certainly depends on the role that you're going for. If you're read through the JD, I think job description is something from where you get to understand what particular job is demanding from you. If they say that they need a web application pen tester who know what is XSS, top 10 OAPs, how to find them, how to mitigate them, and if they also mention that the particular person should have a basic networking security skill set also, then certainly you should have that. But it totally depends on the JD. Certainly, if you're going for a web application fantastic, Metasploit and Active Directory is not required there as most of the time. So you don't need to worry to learn about the Metasploit or Active Directory exploitation if you are going for a web application pen testing in generic terms. Though if there's a specific requirement in any company who are using AD behind in their in their SSO system or in the identity platform, obviously in those roles you need to know the working of Active Directory. But generally speaking, you don't need to go through those Metasploit and Active Directory exploitation if you are applying for a web application pen tester.
So there's this question about LinkedIn job requirement. So is it a hard requirement? Like they mentioned that 5+6 year experience or 3+year. So should we not apply totally, or should we apply and then let's see how that goes?
Yeah, I think it's mostly about luck also. How you are presenting your resume, what kind of things you have in your resume. Most of the people generally overlook if you are able to able to justify your 2 or 3 years of experience as compared to the guy that to the people that they are hiring which were having 5 or 6 years experience. If you are able to match those skill set, if you are able to bring those difference in a very like bring those different down. I think those job requirement doesn't work out as a hard requirement. Whether they are LinkedIn job or other jobs, they are not hard, but many company does check whether whether the person is having this particular set of experience. It doesn't mostly work in startups, no, but certainly in MNCs, they because they have that hierarchy, they have that job ladder, whether they know that 6 years of experienced person will be an SE2 in their company. So they follow it very hard. Follow it in a very hard manner. So in bigger MNC, that's a problem. I think I won't say that's a
Hmm.
problem, but that's how they follow it. That's how they are built. They're certainly huge companies. They want people. They want to keep everyone happy, and they have to keep common hierarchy in their company. So what requirement they have put in their JDs, they certainly look out for it. If they're asking that they need an 8 year experience guy, they will overlook your resume if you have experience like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years. They will look for 8 years because that role is very specific to 8 years. And this is how this bigger companies works. For a startup, obviously you can get that get that benefit if you have 4 years of experience, and then a startup looking for 6 years of experience. You can justify that those skill set going through your resume. But for bigger MNC, they certainly just discard your resume, just checking your number of experience without going through your complete resume.
That's an important thing, because a lot of people think that they argue that the years do not justify the work experience. That I also agree with, but there are things like, let's say if you're working as a 10 years experience and there's a person who has only 2 years experience and they also join at the same level as you, then you would also feel a disgruntled employee. So they
Exactly.
wouldn't want big companies wouldn't want that to happen.
Yep.
Um, where to read and learn things about blue teaming, cloud security, and what is infrastructure security? Why should we one know about it?
Where to read and learn this, I think there are dozen of platform where you can learn about blue teaming, cloud security. There are so many open source tools. There are so many open source guidelines. You just search over internet, you'll find dozen of sources. Now you need to find what is the best source. Follow people on Twitter and LinkedIn who regularly share stuff for give back to the community. I think those are the best thing. Those are the free best thing that you can learn from. I won't be going into specific which handle to follow or which books to follow, but I will certainly leave it to the people to swim around to find what are the best resources which are out there in the over the internet. There are so many open source tools, open source documents which are present there, which are there. There are people who are building and writing blogs, so all those things can help you learn blue ticking and cloud security. What is infrastructure security and why should one know about it? This is again very specific to the role that you're going for. So if you're going for an infrastructure security role, that means we are going for uh, a cloud security, where you are uh, looking for different attack surface area in your complete infrastructure, not just application. It could be your network, it could be your firewall, it could be your asset, it could be your devices that your employees are using. So those are the infrastructure which where you need to work upon. So infrastructure security is really a very large domain, not just like, for example, application security, you need to just work on application. For network security, you need to work on your network. But in infrastructure security, you need to work on all the public asset from where your, or not just public asset, but all the asset from where your those vulnerability can come and harm your organization. It could be cloud, it could be network, it could be your employees IT device, it could be the testing device that you have gave them, it could be firewall if you're misconfigured, it could be a Jira tool that they are using for tracking bug. It could be anything. So infrastructure security in and whole, it's a very huge domain where you are working to find out those attack surface area from where those attack can come. And why should one know about it? If you're going about infrastructure security role, you should know about it. There's no specific reason why should one know about it. If you're going for that role, you should know about it. But if you're going for any other role, you don't need to worry about cloud security or infrastructure security, rather than just focus on what particular role uh, that you are going for.
As a fresher, I don't think this is a hard requirement. Like they won't be knowing these things in college.
Certainly no.
Yeah. So I think that was all the questions that we had. Now I would be taking some questions from the chat, and we have like 15-20 minutes more. So I will just wrap up with 2 or 3 more questions. So this is the first one from Harsh Kumar. Now you are in Microsoft and you were also in many startups. What is the difference? What do you advise for freshers?
Yeah. My straightaway advice for fresher is to, if you are a fresher, and look out for startups. I switched to MNC, switched to Microsoft after 5 years working in different companies. I worked for startups for last 4 years or so. So I think startup culture really help you build your resume. That really makes you a man in your particular domain, because you get to know different domain in cybersecurity. If you have joined any startup from the beginning of your career, you will be just stuck to a particular domain. If you are an application pen tester, you will only be working as an application pen tester. You won't be able to work outside that domain if you have joined an MNC. And that's the advantage of joining in startups. And that's why I personally advise people also to join a startup. You are fresher, join in a startup, learn different things, explore the culture, and startup provide you an exponential learning, a very fast paced learning, which bigger MNCs can never provide, because they have already things set up, they already have things built up. While in startup, you are going there to set up things, you have to build things from the scratch. So my advice for the people, if you are a fresher, look out for startups, build a list of startups that India has or that outside India that you want to go, and then apply for them, rather than going for than going for MNCs. You can keep that dream. Everyone, like most of the people, have dream to go to FANG companies, to see the culture of Microsoft, Google, Facebook. I think you can keep that dream, uh, uh, keep that dream certainly. But for the starting, go for a startup, learn different skill sets, explore the startup culture. There's highly enthusiastic people you will be working with, lots of learning that you will be enjoying. And then certainly you can switch to MNCs whenever you want. But for the startups, for the freshers, I would advise to join a good startup.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Like my experience with Grofers had made me learn a lot of things that I wouldn't have learned at any other place, because that was where the team was building up. So I was, and Avinash was the one, we were building everything. We were setting up every tools, everything. Every system was set up like from scratch. So I had a lot of experience there. I wouldn't have got that at any other place. Yep, totally agree with that. There's this question, but I think this has already been answered. I finished my studies in diploma in mechanical. If any companies hired me, I think Avinash has already answered it. That if
Yeah.
you don't have the particular degree, you can prove it through other things like your blogs, your resume, your writing, and other kind of stuff. So I'm just skipping that. And there's this question from ASP Rao. What if somebody has a basically apart from that, is there any other way to validate? This is also the same thing. If you want validation and get highlighted, you need to prove your worth by like putting things and doing things from outside your like doing bug bounty or CTS and there. Um, this is another question from about certifications. This has also been answered. This is Jatin. Since there are relatively less security people in companies in India now, how to find mentors, advisors with whom we can get a profile review for unsuccessful feed? So yeah, Avinash, would you want to take this?
Yeah, I think there certainly nice people in the infosec community. If you see our infosec community, you will find a lot of people giving their providing help to freshers and to new joiners. That kind of support you will only I've personally seen that kind of huge amount of support in the infosec community. Very small community, people live together, people try to help each other through blogs, through mentorship. You will find lots of leaders. Just go through LinkedIn and go through Twitter. You will find so many people who are willingly to help out freshers, who are sending out forms that I will be dedicating this amount of time to help and mentor you, to select your resume, to review your resume. So they are less security people, and that's how, because they are less people, they are more bounded to each other. So just go through those LinkedIn and Twitter. You will find many people uh, uh, helping out freshers and other people to get to make them a better security engineer. So yeah, those this is how you can like, for me, I certainly ping people over Twitter and LinkedIn if I need to ask anything. I know that who is doing good, and uh, uh, from whom I can take advice. So I generally do not think twice. I just DM them on Twitter. I just DM on LinkedIn. Obviously, people are busy in their own life. They sometimes do not reply, but it is your own job. It is your own job that you need to just reach out to them and take help from them. They do not go. They do not come to you and tell you something. You need to ask them. So just 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 find out people and just ask them what you want to ask. Their people certainly will help you out.
Yep. On to that, I just wanted to know that there have been people who have been pinking me about this. They have been asking for resume reviews and all that. I have been doing that. Recently, I started this paid thing where you get a like dedicated session around that. So there's this thing called Engine Boggy, and if you go to this website, there you can book a dedicated slot with me if you want. Like I would be doing a mock interview, and then in the later half, I would be trying to groom your resume around that. So that is something if you want. That's obviously that's a paid thing because that's 1 hour I'm spending with someone. So that's a totally different thing. But obviously people still ping me and I'm responding them on the mails and Twitters as well.
Yeah.
And then let's take another question. How to this is from Dark Aura. How to write a resume as a securities engineer? I found many bugs that will also be added to resume. Like I found a bug in Facebook. So like I think the question is adding should the bugs that we people found, should we add it on a resume? And if we add it, how should we portray it for security researcher profile?
So what you can do is, certainly cannot write a full write up in your resume that will make your resume a thesis. So just put a title of your bug that you found and explain one liner what was the logical bypass, and then hyperlink this with your with particular doc or Google Doc, or with your Medium profile where you generally write blogs, or whatever, wherever you want to point it out. So make sure the is title is something which, if someone read, a third person read, whether it is an HR or whether it is a technical guy, they can understand what is that. And then in a one line, then you can explain what is that, how you have done it, and you can then hyperlink it with a Google Doc, or wherever you have put the complete write-up. Writing a good resume is mostly about how you can sell yourself in lesser words. So you, again, because if you're writing 2 3 4 pages resume, people do not generally read it. I generally do not read it. If I get a resume of pages more than 3 or 4 pages, I generally do not go about it. If just make sure that you write, you are writing resume, that basically means you are selling yourself to a person to get it shortlisted. So you have to be choosy in your words. You have to be very choosy in the project that you want to present, which has real world impact. If you're writing, suppose if you build a project which has done something, so try to mention how it has helped you or the community or the company that you have worked for. It may be that you have implemented a firewall and then tell how much request it was serving and saving your company from the attacks. So make sure when you are writing these projects, you have to show that impact in a minimal line, minimal words, and always show those projects which has those impact. Just do not go about and fill your resume with all the different tools, simple tools that you have done. Make sure you come with the thick of the cream, and you are putting in your resumes. Make your resume concise. It should not be more than 2 pages. I would advise to keep it 1 or 1.5 pages, not more than that. And then use those projects, use the titles to attract someone to go through your resume, rather than just being a boring resume where you are just writing what you did, rather than show the impact what that has made, what your resume has made, or what your bug bounty write-up has made, or what something that you have done in CTS or whatever. So that real impact should come from your resumes. uh, yeah, and that should be my answer to it.
Hello, am I audible now? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's very important because, like, even while we were shortlisting for internships, so there were around 300 candidates, and if each of them had a three-page resume, it would be 900 pages to read, and the HR who is shortlisting it, it would be very difficult for them. So usually they prefer one and a half page. A hack I have found, I've made obviously I've created a one and a half page resume, but I've also created a HTML format of that, so that because reading a web page you don't realize that it's a one page or two page, so I just have it on my website as well. And sometimes people don't tend to download a PDF, rather they would click on a link and open it on a browser. They might scroll through it, so that's a faster way when I'm trying to make my personal approaching to people. Okay, hey, I want to apply for this, so I have that also as handy. I mean, that's a hack that you can also apply if you want. Okay,
Yes.
let's take this one. Does bug bounty help in job? This I think has been answered. Because as per research, companies hire for pen test roles very less as compared to SOC analysts. So blue team has more jobs over red team. So maybe you might want to answer this. Does blue team has more jobs over red teaming? Any thoughts on that, Avinash?
uh, as I think, if you check the Indian ecosystem, the answer to it will be yes. There are more jobs for blue teaming as compared to red teaming. There's certainly now there's a security boom has arrived in India where there are security product coming up. There are companies who are providing consultancy. There are companies who are building product for companies to protect them the infrastructure from security attacks. Now there's a transition. From from a blue teamer to red teamer. Now there's a transition where you will get more rows in building tools which can attack and find bugs. Earlier it used to be other way around, but now there's a shift in the Indian culture. So from the time that digital India boom start coming up, and all those data breaches will start happening, people are coming up with their startups who are solving those customer needs from security perspective. So I think now there has been a good balance in terms both in blue team and red team. Most of the you will find most of the product based companies searching for blue teamer guys, and most of the service based company or software based company are going for red teamer role. So yeah, that's my answer here.
Then there's question from Roman. I'm a 4 year computer science student. I'm currently learning web application security hacking. Need your guide tip. I think Avinash has already talked about this. Great internship. Then there's this one from Sakshi Agrawal. Is cloud security a great field to discover? This has also been taken. This is directed towards me, but I would reflect it towards Avinash. Hey, Asim, I'm doing MCA from IGNU. The problem is this is my bachelor master has 3 years gap with no experience. But now I'm solving rooms on Hack the Box, KHM, and Try Hack Me, and preparing for AGPT. Is it good to get a job? Avinash, have you seen resumes like this? How do you consider those and all? If there's a gap in resume with no work experience.
I think I've seen some resumes where people generally leave their bachelor's or masters, or maybe they do their bachelor's or master, and then they generally do not get job for some time period. But how you are utilizing those extended months free time to build your resume certainly will help you get your resume shortlisted. There have been people which have gone through and taken resumes. if you are able to, if there's no pulling back. If you are not getting job even after you BTech MTech, take your own time. There's so many open source platform, even you can go for a paid internship or whatever you want, but there's so many things that is available over the internet that which can help you build your resume, and which can certainly help you improve your resume. So solving, but hack the box or try hack me, all this certainly helps in building your resumes. uh, uh, More than building a resume, it certainly helps you to learn stuff, to learn things, and which is the main thing out of this. Learning should never go, whether you are working on or working. Learning is something which should be continuous process, and if you have that learning, if you can prove the worth of having you in some of the companies, you will certainly get a job.
Yep. And this is a good question, and like I have also been looking into it. So, how do you manage a day taking into consideration that you would need to both work on the office work and need to take out? So, something I would like to address this before Avinash answers. So, Avinash has been a very disciplined person. I've seen him for a long time, and he has this, like, we used to have this personal OKRs kind of thing, and like he used to follow it very religiously, and he also make us to follow that very religiously, and that has like made a habit of me that I'm also following those. So I have some personal goals and those. So Avinash could answer that. He could talk about these personal OKRs and stuff. Yeah, he's a very disciplined person around that, and he does that a lot.
Yeah, i
Yeah,
think i
Avinash.
think that discipline has came into the habit. I started with a force. I But that become a part of a habit. There's a book which I've read recently, which I was unknowingly followed for a longer time, but then I found a book which was certainly depicting what I has been doing. There's a book, Atomic Habit. If you read it, you will, yeah, that's the book. So if you read it, you will get to know how to build good habits. I think habits are necessary to build. For example, there's a particular statement in that book. If you do something continuous for 21 days, it will become your habit. So I was doing it unintentionally. I never knew that it is called as an habit. So I was certainly like focusing more on my self improvement. I know I needed to spend 9 odd hours in my office, but then the next the remaining 15 hours is mine. So I needed to find the best possible way from where I can utilize those 15 hours. Then I started following something which is called OKRs. I will not be going into a deep of what is OKR. You can imagine it as an kind of a structured goal where you find out what you want to do in that particular month or in that particular quarter, and then you basically break this into measurable quantities. Suppose, for example, if I say that I want to get a
Yeah, Avinash, did we lose?
is it
Avinash, we
audible now?
lost you, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, is it audible now?
yeah, it's okay. You were saying something. You have some.
Yeah. So OKR, you can think OKRs as a structured goal, and then you can break them into a, a quantity which you can measure and which you can achieve. For example, you want to be a good bug bounty hunter. So your goal will be you want to be a good bug bounty hunter. Now, how you can justify that you become a good bug bounty hunter? You will tell that you will find a 1P0 bug in HackerOne, or you will find 3P1 bug in Bugcrowd, or you will find you will you will build an open source tool which can find out which can do your recognition, which can do a footprinting, or which can gather subdomains. So this is how you justify that you are now have become a good pen tester. So which is kind of a structure which is called Nokia, which which is what I've been following for some time. Whether it is related to the professional development, personal development, or it could be anything. I've been following very religiously, and I started doing this for a couple of months, and then it become a part of my habit. So I will just advise people to just go, just break down your goals and targets, and then go about it, following it, follow them, and then see how you can go about them, keeping a short target. Like suppose your goal is to become a bug bounty hunter, then break them into smaller tasks. Suppose you need to read 100 HackerOne reports, or you need to build your own tool. You need to find bug bounties in 10 Indian odd companies. So this is how you can measure that you have become a good pen tester, or you become a good bug bounty hunter. And this is how I keep a balance in my office work and my personal life. I have fully dedicated 9 hours for my office. Obviously, there are sometimes where I need to work apart from those fixed 9 hours, but I certainly keep lot of time for me, for my personal development, to spend my time with my family and near and dear ones, because I know, if there's something which has come urgently for my company, I will certainly do. But if there are things which doesn't require my immediate effort, I will do it. I will do it the next day when my day start from office. So I certainly keep that balance. I know the importance of having a professional relation and then personal relation. You need to work on both of them. You need to make sure that you are not hampering your personal life. You are not hampering your lifestyle. You are not hampering your personal development for your professional career. So yeah, I've been taking this very seriously, and with time I started realizing more about it, that there's some personal life which exists apart from office. There's personal development, self learning, which exists apart from your office hours. So I've been following that very religiously.
Yes, that's something I've seen him doing for a long time. Yeah. Is quality tag, does that really matter, Avinash, in the long run? I don't think so,
See,
but yeah.
I will be very honest with you. They are they just like, there are people who are stereotyped with those tags. If you see those tag IT, you will certainly get the feeling that, yeah, that that person has come from IT, then he will might have more chances that he will have a good, stronger technical side, or whatever side it has. It doesn't really matter, but they are, this is a stereotype which is being in India community for longer time, and it will be there for coming time as well. But it is now fading away. It is not going away. But unfortunately, it is still there. I won't be totally denying, saying that it doesn't really matter. They are being people who just search for IIT and IT and triple IT tags in their resumes and in their LinkedIn profile. But yeah, certainly these things are getting improved, and in some near time you will find it totally getting we are totally getting away from it. But for now, unfortunately, we have that culture here in India.
Okay. Avinash, there are just two more questions from chat. I won't be taking any further
Yeah.
questions, and then I have a few questions more. Then we would wrap it by 12:50. It's already
Sure.
a bit late. From CSC Pilot, I'm currently in MTech second year working in Dell RSA security internships. How can I find full-time job as most of the company asking for 2 to 4 years experience?
If you're in second year, you cannot find a full-time job. You need to
Oh,
complete
he's MTech.
bachelor.
He's a
Yeah,
MTech
MTech.
second year.
So I think there are various companies which are offering full-time jobs. Very startups there. You need to find, as I said in the beginning of this live stream, you need to find, there are resources which are already out there. You need to just find out. The effort should come from you. There, everything is just in front of you. You just need to swim around and need to find that gate to come out from it. There are so many job portals. There are people who are putting over LinkedIn, over Twitter about job requirements. There are so many Slack channels out there. There's so many Discord channel which is also being opened for helping you to get into cybersecurity domain. So certainly they are, they are things where you can, from where you can take help to get into a full-time job. Go through company website, find out what JD they have, what role they have, what is their requirement. For bigger MNCs, they, as I said, they generally adhere to their job requirements, the kind of experience they want. But for startups, they sometimes take a trade-off if you are able to justify your skill set in terms of number of years they are asking. So yeah, that would be my answer here.
So thank you. This is the last question from the chat. What are different job roles available in InfoSec at product-based companies as well as FANG? As far as I know, there are SOC, security analyst engineers, SOC analysts, DevSecOps, and threat intel researchers.
Yeah,
Any roles that you know and you would be wanting to
yeah.
talk about that?
I think this fan companies, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, all this, they have dozen of role. I think saying dozen of roles is less. They have so many different roles specific to very specific security things. For example, there's a role for active directory security. There's a role for SSO security. There's a role for identity security. There's a role for security detection, security response, security, malware analysis. So there are so many different ones just specific to a particular cybersecurity domain. When we talk about these FAN companies, I worked in Expedia 4 years back, and in Expedia I think uh, we have more than 10 teams in cybersecurity domain, and each team is specific to their particular domain. For an instance, there was a team for incident response. There's a team for security detection. There's a team for containment operation. So there's so many job role that you will find in those FANG companies, not just limited to SOC, cloud engineering, DevSecOps, but there are so many jobs which you can never think about it. So yeah, FANG companies has those different job roles. While in product-based companies, when uh, specific to startups, they do not have so many roles, but they have those roles where they expect that particular person to be expert, and also to know what other role means. If they are put into a different role, they could find out the way to work in that particular domain also. In product based companies, mostly they use search for pen testers, DevSecOps, cloud security engineer, container security engineer, IT security. So they are the couple of generic security role they usually search for.
Yep. Cool. Okay, nice. Now some other questions that I have not mentioned earlier. Okay,
Yeah,
here goes the first one. Name one book, any fiction and non-fiction.
I think I don't know about fiction, but I recently read a book which is called Psychology of Money. Really nice book. I would advise people to. I think
Oh, this one.
Asim
I
must be
was
having that.
reading this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
read
it
a
is a
lot of
really
books.
nice book. It tells you about how money could impact you and what really money means. It's not just a physical currency, but it how it affects your psychology, how it affects the real happiness in your life. So that's one of the nice book which I just recently read.
So that's for non-fiction, right? Maybe we might have some fiction later.
Yeah.
Okay. Any hobby? Any hobby here?
What is my hobby? Yeah, that I like to clean my house regularly. That's I would say my hobby. Still,
Cleaning.
I'm giving this live streaming, leaving my house uncleaned. So today's Saturday, and I usually spend my Saturday cleaning my study table, my drawing room. My mother is still shouting, "Come down and clean your room."
So while you're cleaning Microsoft for security threats, you're also cleaning your house for different dust and all things. You also have a pet, Avinash, right?
Killing
You have
one.
a cute pet, I remember.
Yeah, yeah. I have a mouse. Uh,
Ah, yeah,
uh,
I
just
remember
like
that.
people might have watched that Stuart Little movie. So I have that
Ah,
mouse.
I've seen that.
He's sleeping right
That's
now, but I would like to show you. He's not. He's
okay.
down, but yeah, I would
Okay,
just
never
show you.
mind. Maybe sometime later we might see that.
Yeah.
Any favorite sports or sports person, Avinash?
I'm a hardcore cricket follower and player. If I would not been an engineer, I would be a cricketer, and certainly that's one of my long dream after retirement. So yeah, sports person. I'm a big CR7 fan. I also follow football. I watch football a lot. So Cristiano Ronaldo is someone from where I take a lot of inspiration.
Nice, nice. That's really good. Hmm. Then this last, I think I had one more question. I don't remember right now, but this is what I have written right now. Any message to people starting into infosec? Because there's a lot
Yeah,
of struggle, a lot of people. So yeah, anything that you would want.
I think I'll be very generic. I think not just specific to InfoSec, but any domain you are in, whether it is InfoSec, whether it's a developer file, whether you are a YouTuber, whether you are blogger or whatever, just be consistent in what you're doing. I think consistency is a key to everything. If you are consistent in any of the domain, whether if you are doing bug bounty hunting, be consistent. Do bug bounty for a year or so, more than that, 2 years or 3 years. Do not leave just by uh, in 6 years. Or if you are a CTO player, do it consistently. Whatever you're doing, be consistent. I think consistency is something which I've been following for so long. It's been 6 years for my career, and I'm still writing blogs for last 4 years. Whenever I get time, though the frequency has certainly reduced because my job role, my responsibility has increased, but I still write blogs, share it with the community. So I think consistency is something which people need to follow, irrespective of infosec job or irrespective of what domain they are. It could be anything. That people like to travel. I think be consistent if you are traveling. Be consistent in your traveling blogs. So I think yeah, that would be my advice to anyone who is just fresher, or anyone who is into the community, or in any domain for a longer period of time. Be consistent in whatever you're doing. If you want to enjoy, be consistent in enjoyment. If you want to play, just be consistent and just play, go around and play. If you want to spend your time with your family, be consistent in spending your time. So whatever you do, just be consistent, and I think in the longer run you will certainly, not sooner or later, but and there will be a time when you will be seeing that output or benefit out of your consistent effort.
So yeah, so if you're watching my videos, be consistent in watching my videos. That's what he means. Even I've been very inconsistent in the past 2 months making videos, but I would try to make it up. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Avinash. Thanks a lot for joining us. It was really good. Even if you have anyone else suggestions, please ping me up and let me know if you want anyone else to be on guest. I have talked to a few person. I'd be inviting them very soon. Thanks a lot, Avinash. Hope you have a nice day.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Asim. I think I hope people had a great learning, and I again thanks a lot for you and to all the people who has been watching this.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Bye.